Business information on the pages.
Please retweet the
First Bank.
chatbot.
I mean, I know what you
Chatbot that they hired in March.
Okay, good people of the world, we're in, please. Studio silence, mics are up.
Look, they can
And a good morning to you once more, Lagos. You're tuned in and listening to Smooth Breakfast on Smooth 98.1. Right now it is 6:46, which means officially we are inside the Express 15 minutes of business. Rotus is in the building. Good morning.
Good morning, Folu. Good morning, Lagos and beyond.
All right, join Business Express in conversation and questions by sending in messages to our WhatsApp number, which is 0809 444 0981, or just tweet at Smooth981FM Lagos, but use the hashtag Business Express 981.
Thank you so much, Folu. We have two-thirds of the Horsemen in the studio with us. We have Christian and Nwanne. Gentlemen, good morning.
Good morning, Lagos.
Morning, Lagos.
All right, welcome. So, Lagos, as far as the stock exchange yesterday, it was, traded downwards on a negative note. We're down by 0.21%. 30,000 point threshold is where we're sitting at. 30,000 points is where we're at. 19.9% down is where the market is so far this year. But despite that fact, the top gainer on the exchange was Diamond Bank.
Drum roll.
Yeah, I know, right? It was up by 9.4%, closed at 1 naira 4 kobo. That's a 57% appreciation from the low of 66 kobo when the low for the year. Access Bank was also another gainer, of course, up by 9.4% as well, closed at 8 naira 15 kobo. This is, of course, due to the confirmed, they're calling it a merger.
Yeah. That's what I have. I have questions. I have the
know.
first question for
Please
Business Express.
Go ahead.
Is this a merger and acquisition? Because I mean, the stocks are being gotten rid of.
Right.
Diamond is, as far as I understand, it being assumed into Access. Please, can you explain to the common man like myself?
Certainly. Yeah, go ahead.
If that's how you look at it, based on Diamond Bank share size, before now it was identified as SIB,
Which is
systematic important bank.
Right.
So if you look at their share size, depositors funds about 450 billion.
Yes.
And then you look at the fact that Access Bank too is almost at that mid-tier tier 2 bank. So you look at it that way, then you might think to look at it that okay, it's a merger. But look at the problems and the woes that have affected Diamond Bank over the past, let me say 1 year. Then you look at it, you might tend to look at it at the point from the point of view of acquisition.
Also, another thing to use, who will exist after the two companies come together and who disappears? So it's Diamond that's
And
disappearing.
then you look at it from, there was a time when UBA and Standard Bank
Right.
did their own form of, they called it merger.
Right.
Technically,
Okay.
it wasn't
Standard Trust Bank.
Standard Trust, right.
Bank.
So it's, I don't know,
So
I would
are
call it
they-
an
are they-
acquisition. Christian, what do you think?
It's actually an acquisition.
Oh, you
It-
can.
it-
I mean,
Okay.
I mean, you can take the argument for it being a merger is because they're supposed to be strategic synergies, right? So the some of the processes, the business game plan that's currently existing in Diamond Bank or Diamond Bank strategy will be adopted by the new entity. So it's not like they're going to buy and totally do everything that has to do with Diamond Bank. They're going to be absorbing some of the people. They're going to be adopting some of their strategies, and they're hoping to use that to leverage on that to become the biggest in quote
Bank in the country.
Yes.
Paul sent a message very quickly to say, I just feel there is something not right about the M&A between Diamond and Access. I think that Access is trying to window dress their books and give an image that they are the biggest bank in Nigeria. However, looking closely at the efficiency ratio of other tier 1 banks, you will notice that Access isn't measuring up with the likes of GT and Zenith, despite the size of their current balance sheet. Now, if this merger is not carefully managed, it could prove calamitous for Access in the short run, mainly due to transparency issues and lack of information.
Paul, that is thank you so much. That sets us off on our journey this morning.
All
So,
right.
okay, so Paul has identified a couple things. Now, as far as the size, so I want to get your thoughts on this deal. Access 4.5 trillion in assets, yes? Diamond, about 1.5. That takes them to 6 trillion. So that going by asset size, that would make them the biggest bank combined in the country. Yeah, I mean that's that's a fact.
Yeah,
You're looking at that.
that's the fact. But know that it's how looking at it. Assets have always told the part of inorganic growth.
Okay.
So if you look at, if you compare to other banks, probably like First Bank and GT,
Right.
which have done organic growth. So for assets, they are more into, because there's already a path, or how would I put it, a track record.
Right.
They have
Like
done
the
some
Intercontinental deal
and
2012, right?
to large extent it was successful.
Right.
They grew in size.
Right.
So technically, if this one goes well, they also
It's another. I'm glad you mentioned First Bank. I was still trying to compare their numbers. You know, we're talking downstairs. If we combine the branches for Access and Diamond, I think it comes out to about 579 total branches or so.
600.
Yeah, about 600. First Bank has almost 800 branches. The combined size still doesn't touch them. They're quite a large network at first. But that's an aside. We're just something I noticed.
But
That what we're looking at.
it brings some worries, like how do you, because if a bank like First Bank hasn't been able to shut down some branches at other locations, will this, now that Access and Diamond Bank most likely have like
Similar
structures in the same streets or something like that,
and
will CBN allow them to
do that? The question, what do you think? Because there's some, I can't remember where in Victoria Island. There are a couple of locations where there's an Access and a Diamond on the same streets. Yeah, right.
Yes. So what one would expect would be that typically they would have to let go, close some of these branches, probably do away with the ones that are owned by the bank. They'll probably do away with the assets, and dispose of the property. The idea is to leverage on Diamond Bank's branch network,
Right, which is extensive.
yes, and also their IT. They are very robust, tech-based, product offerings.
Right.
If they can successfully do this, I do not think that the size in terms of branches, in terms of number of clients, I don't think it will be a problem.
Okay.
Already Diamond Bank has a good platform, an IT platform,
Right.
that can carry, if I'm not mistaken, all of the supposed customers of the new entity.
Okay.
So I do not see going forward the size being a problem in terms of client base or branch network. They will simply close branches that are not viable. Of course, there are branches that will run that are not commercially viable, but they will still keep it operations for other strategic purposes. Yeah, but I do not think that it's a major cause for worry.
Okay, I'm glad. Well, let's jump into this other thing now. Nairametrics has an article on the possible job losses, right? I mean, this is something that happens. I think Access has about 3,100 staff. Diamond has a little more than them. Diamond has about 3,200. There's going to be some overlap in roles and duties. What are we looking at as far as possible layoffs? Because if we go back, as in using history as an example, if we use the 2012 when they took over Intercontinental, reportedly about 1,000 people lost their jobs. And I don't think we're counting even severance packages that were given. So with this now, they haven't mentioned anything. It's still very early days. In fact, by the way, shareholders and the regulator still has to give the green light on this deal. So, we're just, they're very important. So we're still going off of the banks approving this as of yesterday or giving notification. What about, where would you guys stand on that end as far as, I mean, job losses are likely, yes? Or what do we think?
for me, for every M&E, it's almost like a sacrosanct that there will be a certain number of job loss, job staff cuts. And to my own instance, I think it will mostly be from Diamond Bank aspect. Probably for Access Bank, probably 5%
Of their workforce, huh? Christian, what do you think?
I wouldn't like to send jitters down the spines of the Diamond Bank staff, considering the fact that the MD released a circular yesterday saying that for now there's no need to worry. That everybody just go about your duties and then you'll be guided as
to how things will work out.
Yes. It's only normal when there's a merger in quotes again like this. It's only normal for some people to be let go.
Right.
Because really Diamond Bank Access Bank has shown over time to be a lean but very efficient organization.
Okay.
So I'm sure they wouldn't want to, go overbloat on staff size. There will definitely be a couple of job losses. Looking more at the top management of Diamond Bank,
right?
Because they wouldn't want to run top heavy.
Right. Now let's look at the actual offer itself. It was as far as what they put on the table, 3 naira 13 kobo per share is what they offered, That's a 260% premium to the, or what did it close like close on Friday? 87 kobo, yeah. Or if you even compare it to, it's still a 200% premium to the stock close on yesterday, which was 1 naira 4 kobo. So the stock rallied, of course. Now, it was 1 naira per share for the number of shares outstanding, which came out to what 1 in
23.2 billion.
that's what they're going to
That's
pay.
the cash.
The cash part of it, of the transaction. Then the shares, they're offering 2 Access Bank shares for every 7 Diamond Bank shares. So they've pretty much valued the company at about 72.4 billion or so. You know, if we're looking at compared to what the market cap was if you use the stock. So it's a healthy offer, yeah, Christian.
Do you think so? I don't know.
You don't,
listen,
okay.
yes. I mean, this is not a good time for Diamond Bank to be going into this kind of arrangements.
Right.
The market is currently suppressed.
Right.
A couple of months ago, Diamond Bank was trading about 1.30.
Right.
So if the deal was done a couple of months ago, probably the premium that the Access would be paying would be more. So this is not a good time for Diamond Bank. I think that the fair value of Diamond Bank is not 87 kobo, which it closed at on Friday.
Right.
It's not the fair value. First of all, there's a general apathy in the market,
right,
and then there was a sell-off resulting from the negative news, the perceived negative news when it was rumored that there was actually going to be an acquisition.
right.
So I think at 87 kobo, using 87 kobo as a base, I don't know. I think that's not the true value of Diamond Bank, and I think that this could bring up some kind of
Issues with the shareholders?
yes,
Okay.
because they're going to be asking questions. Is the true value of Diamond Bank 3.13 kobo? We know that they've had issues over time and they haven't been profitable. But look properly at their books. Is it really 3.13 kobo?
Right,
It's
right.
not the fair value.
Speaking of their books, they declared, I think it was a 12 billion naira loss in 2017. That's as of last year. What this full year, they're expected to have another loss again this year. So their non-performing loans last year 119 billion naira. So that's still another hefty thing. By the way, speaking of which, that's something for Access to consider, because the one that you were saying downstairs, when they did the Intercontinental deal in 2012 for Access, go ahead. Amcon had taken over.
Amcon took over most of the bad debt
For Intercontinental. Right.
And this instance, I don't think Amcon is in
They're not
they
part
don't
of
have
this.
that firepower.
Right.
They won't get taken on of
They're actually not interested.
Right. Amcon hasn't been mentioned in this at all. So Access is going to fully take over the debt side of this.
Which
Okay.
the non-performing loans is high.
It's pretty high. Okay, so something to look at. All right.
All right, just like that, we've come to the end of the show.
Just like that.
Yes.
So much to discuss on this
Yes.
thing. Okay, we'll continue.
I will read out a message that's come in on
Okay.
Twitter, maybe a couple of them. Jerry says, simply put, if there is an entirely new entity after the combination, it's a merger. But if one continues to exist and another goes into oblivion, it's an acquisition.
All right,
Access
Jerry.
Diamond is an acquisition. Wakaido Trinity says, another thing to note is the credit rating of the new enlarged entity. Access had a good rating, but Diamond didn't. Access is likely to get its rating dropped with the acquisition.
Good things to look out for. Thanks for your messages, guys. Very much appreciated.
Thank you.
Nwanne and Christian, thanks for coming in today. Appreciate it.
Thank you very much, gentlemen. One day the 3 Horsemen will be
We hope.
but coming up next, we've got great music lined up for you, and of course at 7:30, detailed newspaper analysis inside of Freshly Pressed. So do keep listening to Smooth Breakfast.
Press on Smooth 98.